I don't know. They might have interaction, but the draw. Oh, and there's the Shelter by Ghost. That's huge. Oh my God, a second one. Oh, let's go, dude. No way they're going to be able to beat us after that. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And today we have a weirdly busted deck that we're actually getting to play. And it's busted for a reason you might not think. And it's for a resurgence of a card in Ivy, Gleeful Spell Thief. This card is going to do insane things today in today's video, more than I even thought, because I forgot that it actually steals our opponent's stuff as well. But it says whenever a player, not you, a player, it's been a while since I played with this card, I immediately forgot that. I was like, oh, you know, target my creature with this, give this bigger, make a Shelter by Ghost, target this, make this bigger. We play against auras, and when our opponent tries to Shelter by Ghost us, Ivy copies it and then Shelter by Ghost them first. It is actually insane. So Ivy says, whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy, you may copy that spell. The copy targets Ivy. Our opponents were monstrous raging their creature. Ivy was stealing it. They were pumping it with Shard Mage's Rescue. Ivy would steal it. Anything that they were trying to do to their own stuff that was a spell, Ivy was just like, I will take that for free, thank you. Please put that counter, put that extra power, put that extra toughness on me. And when you have a card like Scavenger sitting around as well, those cards that give us extra enchantments because of Ivy stealing it, that means we're getting our creature to grow much faster, much larger than theirs. But this works with the ultimate Shelter by Ghost. We already know how good this card is, but what if we stretch its effectiveness to the max by, let's say, turn 1, we play a ward creature like this, like you'll see in today's video. But Toad, we play it, has ward 2, already kind of annoying to remove if you're not playing Nowhere to Run. But then we have a Shelter by Ghost just sitting there. We risk it. We play Ivy on turn 2. Our opponent, we know, kind of doesn't necessarily play a lot of burn. So we play Ivy on 2, and we hold that Shelter by Ghost. For turn 3, we can hold up a protection spell, or even if we have something better like an Ethereal Armor, we can cast Shelter by Ghost, targeting the Toad. The Shelter by Ghost will be copied by Ivy, equipping the Ivy. We exile both of their spells that they might have in play. It's obviously early, so likely they will only have 2 to 3 things. So we're going to get their most important 2 things. And then if we Ethereal Armor, because Ivy's making copies of all these cards, Ethereal Armor is going to also be copied and then attached to the Toad and the Ivy. So that's 4 enchantments currently in play. That's +4/+4 to both these creatures, plus an additional 1/0. And then we're able to attack that turn with those. So that is 6 damage here. That's 7 damage here. All lifelink, and not a whole lot your opponent can do about it. It's very cool. The games will explain this deck the best, but let's break it down very quickly after that, just so we can get over this card. This card just completely impressed me today. So main plan is to play a 1-drop, either the Armadillo that has ward, the Totemeyer has ward 2, a little bit better here. Scavenger oftentimes can be a good 1-drop, and we have Storm Chaser's talent as well as an enchantment 1-drop that helps obviously fuel the rest of our deck. Audacity in here as a 2/0 for trample whenever it matters, because our creatures will be getting large. Rescue as our ultimate protector spell, Ethereal Armor as our closer, Shelter by Ghost as our win condition in a lot of games. And then we have 2 weird other cards here. Entity Tracker, because if Ivy's in play with Entity Tracker, this only cares about enchantment ETB, so you can cast a small thing like Audacity. It'll copy itself, enter, draw you a card, and then the initial copy will enter, draw you a card. And then we have Calyx. Whenever a enchantment enters the battlefield, we're putting counters on, just like our Scavenger. But then you also make more and more copies of Shelter by Ghost when it's all said and done, because if that enchantment creature hits your opponent, you get to make more copies. So a little bit longer of an intro, but I felt it was necessary because this is a weirder deck than we're playing. It's also Bant, and it's not a control deck, so it's pretty awesome there too. So with that said, we're going to dive right into the matches. I hope you all enjoy them, and let's go game. All right, we're going first. We have an interesting hand, but I mean, we're gonna latch onto this for sure. We'll play the Scavenger first, and then we can go Armadillo into Storm Chasers. Armadillo has ward, and it does have a way to pump itself. Looks like we're against Boros Auras, if I had to guess. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. The Shelter by Ghost not going to be able to pick this off anyway, so we might as well play it. A little bottlenecked on our white mana here, which is definitely tough. Put a counter on our little 4-ish, and we'll offer a trade. There's no way they take it, but we'll offer it. Now we have an Armadillo with a Shelter by Ghost would be Ward 3, which is going to be tough for a Boros deck to deal with. So they'll have to take Shelter by Ghost off of it. We'll see. We either need to hit a white land or our own Shelter. Or just like even a land in general wouldn't even be the worst. Okay. Interesting kind of take here. They have a protection spell. That's what this is screaming to me. To attack with this and then leave open the red-white land. There's no other world in which there's not just that, right? Ethereal armor. Grow, little buddy, grow. You're getting there. And then, what do we end up leaving behind here? Just have first strike. I could almost leave it behind. That's an interesting take, right? Because if I leave this behind, like, how good is it? Because it's got so much toughness on it. But also, I would just kind of want to close the game. I know it's weird. We can see if our opponent maybe makes a mistake. I don't think the 4 changes how fast our opponent can actually floor us on this turn. I think they have much more damage capability coming. Also, this gives plus XO until it where it's its toughness. So right now we would get plus 8 if we find the 4th land. Sure. Even if it's a monster rage, we outgrow it here if there's a double attack. Yeah, and they're not going to do it now. A little too afraid, which I totally get. We do find the 4th land. Interesting. Now we got a hoss. We'll play this. We're not going to look to pump it here. We'll just wait. Pass. Protection spell and everything is just like, it's kind of annoying more than anything that we have to keep kind of like wiggling around like this, where it's like there's a couple of cards if we just hit, including our opponent too, right? Like there's a couple of cards if they hit it, they're good. If we don't, do whatever, you know. Sure. Ivy is a sick card to hit here. Play Ivy. I think attack for 4. It has first strike, so they have to do something in response, right? And it has 8 toughness. Yeah, I'll attack for 4 here. It gives away a lot of our toughness, but it puts us closer to closing out the game. It actually will close out the game next turn if they do something in which we have to use this protection spell. Because we'll be able to target the Armadillo and then target our Ivy and be pretty good there. Block one of the prowess creatures, block the other prowess creature. And then I guess I could throw this one in front of here. None of these are enchantments, so none of it really matters in the long run. Whenever a player casts a spell, it targets a single creature other than Ivy. I may copy it. That's pretty sick. I didn't realize that it also worked on my opponent's spells, or I probably would have blocked with Ivy. What? It works for my opponents? That's kind of crazy. Like, I was just like, oh yeah, when we target our stuff, we're going to get a lot of pumps. But I didn't realize in the aura matchup mirror, the Ivy's just going to absolutely steal everything. Which also makes this bigger, but that's just kind of funny in general. A land hit is awful for our opponent. That resolves. I don't know, you want a monster trade something too? Now this doesn't obviously change any targets, but it's only when spells do. Sure. You want a monster trade something? Fair enough. My turn. I bet. I mean, what will they have here? Oh, the armadillo gets there. Very cool. Yeah, no, that's crazy that we can just play Ivy in these matchups. And if they're like, target my creature with a Shelter by Ghost, I get to take their Shelter by Ghost. Mine will resolve first and then take the creature they're Shelter by Ghosting. All right, we go first. We'll keep here. Our hand's a little like, it's not the best, but we are on the play. So we'll get an Ivy down immediately. All of our lands enter untapped pretty smoothly. Just Guy Oculus, it seems. Should be a fine matchup, which means this can probably go ahead and be slammed down. Now, this is whenever they cast a spell that targets a single creature other than our Ivy, so... I don't think it's going to come up much in this match. Sure. You got a torch here? No. Okay. Sure. Obviously, no block for us here. Zero reason to do so. Do I want to play this ward creature or do I want to pass here? I think I want to pass and go for a tracker here. I can just keep this Ivy open. It does threaten some stuff even though it's not necessarily great stuff here. We really have to find our Shelter by Ghost in a spot like this. If we don't, we're just going to be struggling the whole game. They hit a land here. They do, and it's white. That's tough. Oh, well, they play a different land. Sure, I guess. Fine. I was threatening for nothing. Am I the only one weirded out that that just auto-resolved? Here? I don't know. They might have interaction, but... To draw. Oh, and there's the Shelter by Ghost. That's huge. Oh my god, a second one? Oh, let's go, dude. No way they're going to be able to beat us after that. They don't even know about the Shelter by Ghost, but they realize my creatures have protection. We're going to cast the Shelter by Ghost, target the tracker again. Ivy's going to also get a copy, and we're going to exile 2 of their creatures and then crack them, gaining 4 life for each of those. Gain 8 life this turn. That's crazy. All right, we get to go first here. Pretty awesome indeed. What do we go with? Prowess isn't necessarily a thing that matters all too much for us, but I guess playing... Honestly, I guess they should play this later, right? I think having the creature that has Ward 4 might be better against an aggro match than just making an Otter and potentially Shelter by Ghosting. This card is going to be so tough to beat, especially even like a Nowhere to Run. Because the problem for Nowhere to Run is if I get to play the Admirer, right? Which I do, obviously. I play this, maybe I Shelter by Ghost something, and then I get the Ethereal Armor, which means this will be out of range of Nowhere to Run anyway. Alright, well, maybe I should have let off on the other land. Here's Storm Chaser's talent. There's a combat. 1. I'm a little, like, I am a little gun shy of firing everything off into a lockdown here, depending what my opponent's on. I will probably commit this Ethereal Armor next turn, but I will not commit this and this if we think Ethereal Armor, or not Ethereal Armor, if we think Lockdown's what they're on. I guess I could have played Ethereal Armor and done additional damage. Maybe that's just a big miss. Yes, guy. Control, probably. No, it's Oculus. Why is the Oculus everywhere all of a sudden? It's one of those things where, like, you play against Oculus and then you just have to play against it 3 more times, apparently. But let's make it, like, impossible to lose here. Maybe not impossible, obviously, but make it a lot harder to lose. I'm not playing around temporary lockdown against Jeskai Oculus. If they play that in their deck, then so be it. I will just fold to it, I guess. Okay, I was gonna say, a little part of me had so much fear that I was about to see a temp lockdown But thankfully we don't. 2 lands get discarded. Opponent, I totally get it. No worries. All right, we're in. I'm just going to start putting counters on this. Put them down to 4. Because now if I put another counter on it, even an Oculus can't block this. Well, I guess first strike means it can't block it anyway, right? Doesn't really matter. Here, their flyer has vigilance, so they can do stuff around that. Profs. Doesn't matter too much. This will be a 2 counters on the flyer, which is 4. Still doesn't matter because we're going to be swinging like a lethal amount every turn. And now that is actually super interesting. Let's play Storm Chasers. Up our prowess here. And we're going to force a double block. Because both of these will now be lethal. And now they're going to be stuck in a really tough spot. Here is 16 apiece. Yeah. And just like that, we take it. Very cool. Awesome. Great hand. If there's a hand to win with, I think it's this one. I really do need to monitor which lands I play first. But I think it's okay right now. We play a little Toad. I see a blue-black. I do this. I play Ivy. Hope it resolves and stays. And we hit for 1. Just a blue here makes me feel okay. Nowhere to run does matter a ton here, though. And that sucks in general. Combat? It seems like everything's just resolving here. I will try to do this, I guess. Yes. That's 3 toughness across the board. Should I not just shelter by ghosties too? I know I missed out on 1,000,000 damage by doing this. But I guess now I just pass. Just threaten that we have a protection spell up. But if they go Deep Cavern Bat, I'm going to be annoyed. But I guess it's just the state of the game. Nowhere to Run is perfectly sized to take out both of these. It's just so weird. Like, I know I missed so much damage there. But I just don't know if it's worth committing the spell and getting all my stuff blown out, you know? But I guess every time I target the Toaster Strudel down here, Ivy would still get the thing anyway. Oh, they go for Kiora. Alright, so this should be super close. If we top deck another enchantment that actually like targets a thing, it is. This should make it really, really close. So we'll play Storm Chasers. Now these are 5. We target here. Ivy also gets targeted. Unfortunately, Ivies will resolve first. And then that's 1 short. We put him 1 short. Gross. Alright, opponent. Maybe the ethereal armor earlier would have been worth it at this point. But, you know, it is what it is. You can bring back an Oculus. I believe in you. Very cool. So it's been Aura's Mirror, kind of, because like it's the same kind of plan. So it's been Mirrors, Oculus, and another Oculus deck. Bro, what is going on? All right, so opponents first. We do have a fine hand. We'll try. A bit land heavy here. Oh, it's Scamp. Okay. Play Storm Chasers. This is where Shelter by Ghost can win a matchup just for free for the most part. Or not Storm Chasers, Shelter by Ghost. No block. They sacrifice this, like, incredible soul read. I think I have to go for the Shelter here, especially with the Calyx draw. If they have removal, they have removal. Oh, maybe it's Snakeskin Veil. That would be tough. Let's do this. No. Blocking, I think, almost feels worthless. So I'm going to attack and just hope they don't have it here. I know that's kind of a crazy phrase to say out loud. But if at 3 I'm dead, then I'm dead, dude. You know what I mean? Like, it's also, I'm only blocking 1 toughness. So that's 4. They could sack this and then take out my dude, which they do. Okay. To be fair, I think we take that, right? Like, for the most part. There's an Armadillo. Now where are we? Do I play this? This is only when another enchantment enters. Do I Armadillo and just use it as kind of a one-turn block here? 3 cards in hand at 18. I'm definitely within range. Just a bit more tough. A bit more tough. Great verbiage. I will Audacity so I can at least threaten to trade this. I thought about not with Calyx in hand, but I think I just have to. Innkeeper Talent. Okay. I don't know if it's a bluff call or what, but... Oh, they just have another Monstrous Rage. Okay. Yeah, typical Arena here. Scamp, Monstrous Rage, Scamp, Monstrous Rage, you know? Like... Yeah, like, reasonable hands. Here... They only have one more card left, so it's a bit weird. I think I'm going to try to get my tracker in this turn. And then play Calyx in the following turn. Like... 2... Oh, they could pump this all the way up. That's tough. It's going to be hard to beat. But at least I know they're not going to fling this here, right? It has trample, so this block makes no sense. Here. You can proliferate if you'd like. Let's flash in this tracker. There's an Ethereal Armor. Do we Calyx and play Ethereal Armor? It almost feels worth it. Just sucks, man. The fact that, like, them blocking just does it here. Let's Calyx for now. Put a counter. Whatever creature we're going to keep back to block, which I guess should be the entity tracker, because it'll be the largest creature. There's a toad. So now we're going to Ethereal Armor here. I know this seems weird, but you got to remember that Calyx is going to make a copy of an enchantment here. So we're going to pump this guy up, unless he's just... No, it won't be lethal. Actually, will this be lethal? Because 4 will hit, Calyx will trigger, and then we can put another armor here. We actually have to count now. So... Ethereal Armor is giving plus 1, 2, 3. And then another one will enter. So that'll be 4 that Ethereal Armor gives. So Ethereal Armor is plus 4, plus 2 more counters. So that's 10. I think we actually have lethal here. Because of first strike. Am I wrong? We actually found lethal here. That's crazy. Holy cow. I did not expect that to actually swing for a win. Maybe my opponent saw it, but I have no idea. That's tight. That is crazy. Very sick. Opponent first. We have Talent or Toad. Feel like it's supposed to be Talent. I don't actually know. Could also play the Thicket, maybe. It's weird. Auras. They say hello. I say hello. Let's play the Hexproofer here then. Or not Hexproofer, the Ward Proofer. The Proofer of Ward. And then maybe we'll get to prove what we proved earlier. Where we could play an Ivy and they'll try to Shelter by Ghost or Scavenger, and then the Ivy will make a copy, ripping their creature out of the ground, which will be pretty awesome, to be honest. And the thing about playing the Ward creature here is they don't get to play the Shelter by Ghost first, right? So they suspend a Ruckus. A Ruckus they suspend. Yep, here comes an Ivy. Nope. They could have hold up a protection spell. But again, like we said, Ivy should copy a Shelter by Ghost copy. Everything they do will steal. It'll be ours. Everything will be ours. What is the decision here? These decks typically don't play like straight up burn removal at all because they just can't really afford to. Especially when Shelter by Ghost is so good. It's just like, why do that, right? Yeah. So target Ivy triggers. I will take it. I now have a 3/2 flyer. I don't get to copy that. Like, to be fair, I don't get to copy that. You are correct. I will decline because we have such good effects sitting on our side of the board, and our opponent is about to have a very awful time. We honestly probably see a scoop here. Ivy, take that action. Yes. Ivy doesn't have protection, so I'm going to take the worst card of the two outside of that, Shelter by Ghost. This is going to enter. This is going to steal this as well. And then just like that, sure, draw a card. Feel free. And then we go into attack. I could have played this and made these a lot larger, but I think I can do that next turn with Storm Chasers while also holding a protection spell for both my creatures here, which will also keep them alive, right? But yeah, I mean, I just don't know realistically how Boros Auras beats Ivy, because it just all folds down. The more and more the game goes on, the harder it is for their deck to function because our stuff resolves first over and over again. So if they Shelter by this, they Ethereal Armor this, they Demonic Ruckus as you saw this, like everything just starts to fall apart. Which Stalker Frenzy could be a card. I do think I'm just down to attack with my flyer. I don't want to risk anything here. And again, if they play a thing to give this flying, well, weird. I guess that would get around it, huh? No, we actually attack here, and there's a good reason why. One, we can respond with a Shard Mage's Rescue, growing this larger. But if they Shard Mage's Rescue their Scavenger, we'll make a copy on the Ivy, and then our Scavenger will put a counter on the Toad. Yeah, that's fine. I will Monstrous Rage my Ivy, I guess. And then we'll put a counter here, which means the Toad will stay at 3 power, and it'll trade this creature off. And sure, they get a card back, but I still am not sold on how they beat this. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you have a card here, but Ivy's just stealing everything. The ultimate thief, dude. Like, as you can see, it says Spell Thief. It is the ultimate thieving game that we are playing here. And it's actually incredible. I love the fact that we got to discover this kind of live. See how it goes. See an attack here. I almost want to block with Ivy, because any type of pump stuff that they do, I get to target my Ivy for free. But block here. I'll let my Ivy win the game on its own next turn. Monstrous Rage. Sure. I'll take a copy. The roll token will just replace itself, giving our Scavenger an extra counter and allowing us to put a bigger counter on Ivy. This was kind of one of the reasons why I felt like maybe I just do have Ivy do this. As you could tell, the creature would already be big enough to trade Ivy off. And we'd have to commit this, and then that still wouldn't get us done. Or get it done here. And this card's just so hard to stop that I just don't know how to do it anyway. I might even rescue this card, because I think I can find lethal that way. If I cast Shard Mage's Rescue on the Scavenger. Yep, sure. I will copy that. Yes. I will copy that, yes. Now I'm going to commit onto the other creature as well. And there's a Calyx. Just feels just unlosable. Down to 17. Even if there's a fling here, short, but they also can't do it with that. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to play here. Good game. It's an interesting deck, man. It's super cool. As you can see, we have lethal here, so we will just go ahead and do that. We could have played one more spell. It was really close, but yeah, man, I'm sold, dude. I love Ivy. All right, so here we are in the outro, and this deck performed very well, way higher than I kind of expected. Ivy had always been like a toxic card. This was a card that you played with Rot Priest and things like that. That was always kind of weird. because Ivy's so good in that spot, but here it actually worked out way better than I thought it was, especially once we realized like what it actually does to your opponent's stuff if they're playing auras. The fact that they can never shelter by ghost their creature to take yours because you will in response take their stuff. And even if they were to respond with a rescue, right? If they're like or shelter by ghost, this will trigger, and then they respond to the target with a Shard Mage's rescue, we just get to do Ivy as well, right? Like, they can't even take the card that's a problem for them because the rescue will enter for us first, and then we'll give Ivy the protection, and then that Shelter by Ghost still resolves. It doesn't take anything, but our creature now has lifelink, and it's gotten a little bit bigger, right? So there's a lot of weird things like that that just get to happen with this deck that I didn't account for. I just kind of assumed it was going to be like Azorius auras where you're like, okay, red, can you be a 11-7 lifelinker? Like, how do you beat that? Especially if it's got flying. How do you beat a thing that's trampling over, a Calyx that's making extra copies of Shelter by Ghost, or even Ethereal Armors? You can't get through with double strike because I also have first strike and my creature is way larger than yours. So it's definitely a weird one in general, and I actually enjoy it. And I do think the best part about this, outside of Ivy's a bit weird because this is a card that rotates at the end of the year. But I do think the deck is in an interesting spot. I'm not sure if it's the best. We might have just ran hot and it could just be not that great. But in terms of rares and stuff, if you have the mana base, obviously the mana base is always like a, if you have that, I would argue it's not that bad. Obviously the 4 rares is a bit much if you are really on a true budget account, but maybe you played this card back in the day, you played it in Poison. I definitely would say maybe give this deck a shot. It will probably have those weird games where you're stuck on 2 lands and you can't necessarily draw anything great, or like you do have 3 or 4 lands and then you draw a 5th and 6th and you're like, wow, how do I ever win? Those happen in best of 1. You just have to get through that. But from my experience today, it just makes certain matchups that you felt were unlosable when you played Azorius auras almost even more unlosable. It felt like any time I was against an aggro deck, their only chance was the Screaming Nemesis, if they ever even got to that point. Because the other thing is, sure, we might not be able to gain life. Doesn't mean we still can't hit them for 12. You know what I mean? So it's a bit weird, but with that said and done, I hope you all enjoyed the video. This deck was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. I was really excited, but I had to call it for today or I was going to play a lot more. But with that said, I hope you all enjoy, and I'll catch you in the next one.